You saw the unboxing, you saw me using it. Then let's set up the Metz Mecablitz 52AF. Today in the studio. Hello everyone, my name is Alex Silva, and today I wanted to show you how I'm using this flash. You saw me unboxing it, and you saw me using it in my fashion collaboration shoot. I'll link to that video in the description. But in any case, I wanted to show you this flash. I bought it like around a year and a half or so ago. And I've found it that it's a great flash. It's just super reliable, very well built, and it seriously rivals the build quality of Canon or many other brands like Nikon or whatever. And it's not as cheap, let's say, as Yongnuo or Godox or some other flashes. But it's super reliable, very well built, and I think it will last me for a really long time. It's a bit unusual because it has an interface. It's a touch interface, not like other flashes that are more button-based. It has a touch screen, not as responsive as, let's say, a smartphone or a tablet. It requires a bit of pressure, but still it's a bit unusual. If you have one of these flashes or something similar like the Metz 64, I think, yeah, Metz 64, it has a similar interface, so I'm going to try and help you with it. In any case, its own quirks and features start with the batteries and the power. Unlike other flashes where you slide the cover just a bit and then open it, in this case it just slides down and shows the battery compartment. There's no clear indication, well, there is, but it's not super clear indication as to the polarity that you should use inserting the batteries. But you can see you can use the rule of thumb that the compartments that are marked with a red circle expected you to insert with the positive polarity in. Okay, so in this case, well, let's get the batteries in. We slide the cover shut, and then you can see the interface where it has, in essence, one big screen and 3 buttons. You see the power button here, and then you will see here a double arrowed button that we're going to use for a lot of things, and you can see the test here. Okay, setting up this flash is not too difficult. It's pretty much similar to any other flash. We're going to use the double arrow in order to get to the main screen. Once we get there, we have a mode, parameters, service, and option menu. The mode is super simple. That is what's going to change the mode of operation of the flash. We can start with TTL, which is the default when you just unpack it. The default mode is ETTL, and it is in the exposure, the flash exposure compensation is set to 0. But if you want to change it, you only need to touch the screen or press the screen just a bit on the EV button, and then using the up and down arrows you can change the exposure compensation, the flash exposure compensation. Let's say you want to compensate for -2. Okay, so it is now ready. Once, but this is in essence the mode that you're going to do, or those are the options that you have in TTL mode. Since the camera and the flash are calculating the flash power, there's not much for you to do. But there's not a lot of fun there, so let's get to something a bit more interesting. Let's say you want to use the flash in manual mode. Well, it's super simple. You press the double arrow button, you get to mode, and using the arrows, select the M, the letter M. You are now in manual mode, and the default power is full power, 1/1. You can change it just pressing on the power setting or power indicator, and then using the arrows you can select a different power, let's say 1/4. It's super simple. However, there are other settings that you can set using manual power. So for example, we can set the zoom. It's currently set to automatic zoom. However, we're going to change it, and we're going to actually listen. We're going to listen to the element moving, because we're going to change the flash zoom coverage, and we can change it from 24mm to 105. Once you select a zoom setting, you just press on it and it's set. This will affect the distance coverage of the flash, and in some respects this flash actually can show you the estimated distance that you're going to cover with a certain power setting. Right now, with the zoom at 105mm and at full power, it covers up to 36 meters. You can set some references, for example, like the aperture that you're going to use. I'm going to use 1.4, but if, for example, I want to use consistently 5.6, well, I can set it up so whenever I change the power setting, it tells me the approximate distance coverage of the flash. I really like this information. This is something that I have not seen in any other flash, or in such a clear way, and I really like this about this flash. However, I need to mention that right now that we are in manual mode with this flash, this aperture setting is only a reference. You can use a different aperture in your camera and the flash will have a different coverage. So we need to keep that in mind. Same goes for the ISO. You can see that you can indicate to the flash the ISO setting that you're going to use. But if you use, let's say, an ISO of 400, you can see that the distance coverage is going to change. So as you can see, it's not it gives you a lot of information, but it's not going to change how the actual coverage of the flash. Anyway, that is for manual operation, and this means that in manual operation this flash will work with pretty much any camera. However, this particular model that I have here is specifically for Canon, as you can probably see here. And I bought this back when I shot Canon, and yes, when you place it on top of a Canon camera, it just responds to everything. It can work with TTL, and you can actually control it from the camera menu, and which in the case of Canon is just great. You can set pretty much any parameter, and it works with the remote system from Canon, which is also very good, but it has its limitations because of the infrared receiver. We're going to talk about that in another case, in another video. In any case, this flash can also be set to work off camera, and it has a pretty universal system for this. In order to get there, you need to press the double arrow button and change the mode. You can see in this particular case that it's a Canon compatible flash. You will see the options master and slave, which are Canon specific. But there is another mode that is called servo, that will respond to other flash firing. In essence, this flash is now waiting for another flash to fire, and then this will fire. You can still set the power as if it was in manual mode, but you can, in essence, you can set this flash somewhere else outside of your camera, and pointing wherever you need to. However, you need to make sure that the sensor at the front of the flash is within line of sight of the flash that you're going to use to trigger it. Other than that, you can place it pretty much anywhere you want. And there's just one thing that you need to keep an eye on, is that if the flash that you're using to trigger this is in red eye reduction mode, that means it flashes twice. Once to reduce the red eye effect, and the other is the actual flash used in the image. In order to prevent any problems with those systems, you can press the sync button and then select the multiple flash symbol. This way, this flash knows that it needs to wait until the second firing from the firing flash. And you can see that you can still select the power that you're going to trigger the flash on. This is, I think, a pretty simple video. I'm just describing how the flash works. It has, as I mentioned in the beginning, its own quirks and features, but I think it's a fantastic flash. It's super reliable. I have had absolutely no issues with it, and it just like many other flashes of its kind, it has a tilting and swiveling head, pretty much just like any other Canon, Nikon, or whatever flash that you may have. And it's super reliable. It's great. It's a great flash. I strongly recommend it. And of course, try to look for the flash that is compatible with your camera system. Of course, you can still use it in manual mode with whatever system that you want to use, but sometimes it's more comfortable to use it with the specific brand that you are using. In any case, thanks a lot for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate you watching this video. If you liked it, of course, yes, press the like button. And if you would like to keep up to date with this channel, of course, subscribe to the channel. And please remember, keep learning and keep shooting. See you.